Greef Karga said you were coming.
What else did he say?
He said you were the best in the parsec. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
You are a Mandalorian. Your ancestors rode the great mythosaur.
Your name will be legendary.
I don't know if you heard, but the Empire is gone.
We have you 4-1.
I like those odds.
Hello and welcome to Mandalorian Minute, a Who Watches podcast about the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. I'm Travis Fishburne.
I'm Alex Brunel.
I'm Dustin Meadows.
And unfortunately, Ryan is not going to be able to join us tonight. He is wanted for crimes against the Empire.
I think it was all the talking smack he did about the Empire last week. I don't remember what he said, but it pissed off somebody.
Yeah. So, just keep Ryan in your thoughts, everybody, and hopefully he'll stay on the run long enough to join us next week.
Thoughts and prayers to Ryan, y'all.
But this week we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 3, The Heiress, which is, I think a pretty filler episode. We could have skipped this. I'm not really sure what the point of this episode was. Alex, don't you agree?
100%. Completely superfluous. Deleted scene. Whole episode. 35 minutes of a deleted scene. No. This episode's freaking awesome. Like, holy crap. This is like the most lore-dense 35 minutes of Star Wars content in years, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's
Rise
so
of
many
Skywalker tried to do it.
That was the sound mix to Rise of Skywalker. It was just fart noises. Because they won't hire Ben Burt anymore. But yeah, no, this episode of The Mandalorian, I loved. I thought it was awesome. And there's stuff that the show is going to wind up spoiling Rebels for me, the half that I haven't seen of that show. Wow, that is a very loud plane. But I don't even care. We'll get to all the delicious goodies, but I was very relieved to see, because we might like glaze over it when we talk in the episode, but the most stressful part of the episode to me is when the child was petting the baby, the frog baby. I was like, he's gonna eat the last of the lineage right in front of his parents, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's gonna happen.
Oh my gosh, I agree. Like, again, the most stressful part was when he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you be babysat."
Like, why would you do that? Or why would you not warn the parents that he's gonna try to eat your eggs? Like, at least tell them that he has an appetite. Say something cryptic that doesn't necessarily indicate that he has eaten a bunch of the eggs. Oh, high anxiety. Anyway.
Dustin, what did you think about this episode? Because there are some things that happen which are, if you've watched Clone Wars and or Rebels, is kind of a big revelation, but I don't believe you have. So how did those surprises hit you?
Yeah, so I knew that Sasha Banks was in this episode. I didn't know that she was in it as a Mandalorian, but I knew it was like, you're not going to put someone high profile in there and not have her show her face. So I was kind of expecting at least the armor reveal when they took their helmets off. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I'm not as well versed in a lot of the outside universe stuff. But I mean, it was definitely cool finding out that stuff and finding out that Mando is essentially like Old Testament Mandalorians, and these are New Testament Mandalorians, basically.
Yeah, found out that Mando went to Jesus camp. Apparently.
Yeah, like I'm down for I'm always down for a heist episode of anything, but it feels like they, like you guys said, it's very lore dense. They crammed the most information they could into the least amount of things actually happening during the episode. Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot of like really good action sequences packed into what has been the shortest episode thus far. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
This
think
was like 32, 33 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm. I
was a
think
very short
episode 2 of
episode. It
season
ended
1 was similarly short, but
Yeah, well, because this one ended, and I was just like, "Oh, okay." I was expecting it to go on for like another 5 or 10 minutes, and it just ended. It was like, "Oh well, all right, that's fair." But yeah, on the whole, I liked it. I know there's a lot of stuff that was getting dropped. The nerds were all just like, "Ooh," like I don't know who the heck Bo-Katan is.
It wasn't me.
Yep, it was bound to happen sooner or later.
Welcome to Deadwood.
that's who you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know who Bo-Katan was prior to this episode, but I did, of course, when they mentioned Ahsoka-Tan, I recognized that character. So that was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fun episode.
So, yeah, a very fun, exciting episode. Again, just like the Timothy Oliphant thing, I think Alex and I knew that this was happening because we talked about it. I wish I had not. I wish that reveal was just like all pure.
Right, they just keep announcing they're casting people in roles, and it's just
Yes.
like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and then Katie Sackhoff had even tweeted on Thursday, "Is it Friday yet?" And I'm like, oh, so that's happening this week. Yep. So yeah, but
Yeah, Ahsoka-Tan's the only casting that I knew about going into the season. So everything else has been a surprise for me, which has been nice.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can get right into the episode.
Let's get right to it.
Yes.
Why does my camera keep freezing?
Oh.
Oh, well. My voice is the star here.
So we got the Mandalorian and the Frog Lady and Baby Yoda. They're all taking a nap, and then they wake up, and they've arrived at Trask, and they have to have a little crash landing.
It's a pretty good sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun sequence.
The effects, I mean, throughout the episode, but the effects continue the crazy high bar that the show has set for itself this season with the previous 2 episodes. Like, the quality of the visual effects on this show is just totally nuts.
It's pretty crazy.
And what a great comedy beat this opening scene has.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Courtesy of, like, I'm going to show the fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Courtesy of this fellow. And Travis did some sweater research.
Yeah. This sweater you can find on Amazon if you want to dress up as a Mon-Cal dock worker at a Trask Harbor. you can do so.
I like that character just looks like a Star Wars character that Bruce Springsteen would write a song about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the whole town being just populated by Mon-Cals and the Quarren is really cool.
I love that.
But as we're like pointing out with that, the costume design is a little questionable, especially to me, because I'm like, why are they wearing like the waders and the everything to keep them dry when these guys should
when they're wet people?
Yeah, they should be naked. Again, like Disney Plus scared to show naked aliens.
Society, man.
I am scared to see naked Mon-Cals. I think that might be too much anatomy. Didn't Clone Wars even have them swing around in some kind of suits?
Well, no, they were like swimming around shirtless at one point in Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's this other thing to talk about with the crash landing, though, which is that it's a shot, like almost a shot-for-shot recreation of Crash in Apollo 13.
Yeah, which we should bring up. This episode is directed by Bryce Dallas Howard,
who did a great job. Like, holy heck.
Based on like her previous episode, you'd think they weren't going to give her something like this. This would be like a Deborah Chow or a Rick Famuyiwa episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. She did the Seven Samurai episode last season, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know it has a name, but I refuse to call it anything but the Seven Samurai episode.
The swamp episode. Where Mando falls in love for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm also glad that you guys called them Quarrens because I forgot what they were called, so I was just calling them Cthulhu faces.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, you could just call them Davy Jones. All of them. The species of Davy Jones.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I
And
definitely
then
got that
another
vibe when they were on
thing
the boat.
about that crash landing is as they're like entering the atmosphere. I mean, they do this throughout this series, but the Razor Crest made a sound. I'm like, oh, that sounds just like Anakin's pod racer stalling out.
Oh. Those sound effects didn't quite come through so well, Trav.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's some editing you're going to have to do later.
all right. But
Yeah.
yeah, great crash landing, and then we get the crane, the Walker crane, pulling the Razor Crest out.
That was pretty cool. Love seeing repurposing of old technology within the universe. Love that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Frog Lady and her husband are reunited.
That's a
and,
wonderful reunion. I was
yeah.
like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? Is she gonna be running to him, and then someone's gonna like snatch the husband, like throw a hood over him and drag him away? And there's, like, he's like, he's wanted for some reason. Like he designed a weapon that someone needs, and it's an amphibian gun.
Instead, it just ended up being wholesome.
Yeah, it was just nice.
And then so they give him the info, or he goes into the local eatery where we see a bunch of guys eating soup that comes out of a tube.
Tube soup. Tube soup.
The old Chowder's tube.
Involve tubes more often, I say.
And like to me that instantly I saw it and I was like, oh, this looks like the food they eat in the Matrix.
Oh,
you remember
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Baby Yoda's playing with his food there, or he gets accused of it.
That was funny.
Oh, yeah, the food tries to eat him.
Yeah.
The tables have turned.
And Mando, he gets a tip. He has to pay off one of the Mon Cals to give him the tip. And I love that he uses the calamari flan that he got from Grief Karga in the first episode.
Yeah. Came back.
I can do calamari flan, but I can only pay half.
I love the sound. It's a very subtle sound that the Mon Cal flan makes. And it's
a good sound.
Yeah.
Whoever's not Ben Burt did a decent job.
It's true. So he gets into contact with a Quarren who says his brother can help him out. And then the next time we see him, they're on a boat. This is our first time seeing a boat in Star Wars.
Is that true?
I can't remember seeing a boat before.
I think at least in live action for sure.
Yeah, anytime you've seen they've been like hovering over water or
was there no boat involved with the Death Star 2 wreckage in Last Jet or Rise of Skywalker?
You're right.
They had like the little skiffs, but that was almost more like a sailboard.
Yeah.
Was it hovering or was it on the water?
It was on the water.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
technically it
it
was a water vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a big, I guess, a space shrimping vessel.
Exactly.
I
do recall there were some boats
similar
in
to a real
on
fishing
Kashyyyk
boat
as well.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, there were. But still, it's rare to see a seaworthy vehicle in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
That's just like a ship. Yeah.
That's just a missed opportunity to sell toys right there.
Yeah. I mean, what are kids going to play with Star Wars in the bathtub? I guess Quarren fishing boats. It's going to be the hot new Christmas toy for the bath.
Yeah, because before now you just had to go in and yell at your kid for playing with the Jabba's sail skiff barge thing in the bathtub. This is for desert travel, not for water.
That doesn't go there. That's in the sandbox in the backyard. You have no Star Wars water toys.
I raised you better than this.
And then instantly right away, these Quarren just double cross Mando and throw Baby Yoda into the mouth of a beast.
That was alarming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Which
well, and
is-
they're so obvious. They so obviously tipped their hand because he insisted like 4 different times, like, "Oh yeah, the child should get close to this thing we're going to show you." I was like, "How does everyone but him get that this is a trap?" It's because the Mon Calamari didn't come out to warn him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the third time. This is the third episode that there's like a huge, like teethy monster.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh,
every
yeah.
episode leading up to this has had one.
that's true. Monster season?
Yeah, and this is also the second time that Mando has been double crossed and tricked by guys promising to take him to other Mandalorians, but really wanting his Beskar.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guy, catch up.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't happen a third time.
Rule of threes.
Yeah,
Maybe
or-
it has to happen a third time.
At least that he's wise
It's true.
to it.
But maybe the third time he finally figures it out, and like we as the audience get to go rule of threes.
Yeah.
Well, he's just been straight ambushed like 5 times now.
I know.
He's been ambushed every time, every episode this season so far.
And can we take a moment to mourn the egg that
Oh, yeah.
what's our Ugnaught friend from the
The
first season?
Pran. The Queel.
Yeah, the thing that Queel lovingly made before he was disintegrated later on.
Oh yeah, that's out of the equation now.
Yep. No protective egg. No egg.
Yeah. It's
Do you think Favreau and Lindelof exchanged egg-based notes?
they very well may have.
Compare and contrast how we use eggs in our programs.
And then yeah. So all's looking really bleak, and then all of a sudden he's saved by a group of Mandalorians. And not just any Mandalorians, but Bo-Katan, who I wouldn't say is a heavy presence throughout Clone Wars and Rebels, but definitely becomes that way, especially in the end. Those last 4 episodes.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex.
she's very significant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she doesn't have the most screen time of any like a lot of characters in that show, but like hugely significant to the overall whole thing. And the adaptation from an animated character design to like a live action costume, holy crap! Like,
Yeah.
it's an incredible translation. Like it
Yeah,
looks
you've
amazing.
got the visual up right now. She's
Yeah.
got the headband and everything.
Yeah.
There's
She is
one-
not aged very much.
Yeah, I was about to say she should be 28 years older.
Right. Space? No, that doesn't work. Maybe it's just Tatooine. Maybe if you just don't live on Tatooine, you're okay.
Yeah.
We saw what Tatooine did to Boba Fett over the course of time. We know what it did to Obi-Wan. Maybe just the secret is don't live on a desert planet.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some interstellar things going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's also this moment that you made the direct visual comparison of, Travis.
Oh yes,
With the
yeah. When
reaching down of the
Bo-Katan
hand.
reaches out her hand to get him out of there, it looks just like when the Mandalorian saves young Din Djarin in the flashback episode in episode 8.
Yeah. I still can't get over how good her helmet looks.
Yeah.
It looks so damn good.
Yeah, that's the thing, is sometimes the translation of some of these characters into live action don't really look that great. You know, and I've seen a bunch of cosplay of these characters in live action, and it looks really great, like you said.
Yeah. Good job, team. But yeah, this is huge. These other 2 Mandalorians, did we have them in the Clone Wars too, or are these just people?
They are brand new.
Okay, that's good. Not more for me to remember.
No. Yeah, a lot of people leading up to this season thought Sasha Banks could potentially be playing Sabine. Because people are like, oh, Sasha Banks changes her hair color a lot. Sabine changes her hair color. It's gotta be.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's great to see Mandalorians kicking ass and all the fun stuff. All the fun stuff.
Yeah, so we like instantly get like this tie-in to like the Filoni-verse in a way that, I mean, the sequels never did. It's just really cool to see that and see that in a way that, like, Dustin, I don't think that took you out of it at all. I think you're like just intrigued.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, it was a really cool sequence, and again, echoing what you guys said, I don't have the Rebels or Clone Wars, whichever cartoon has her in it, to base the costume off of, but yeah, her costume stands out and looks amazing.
Yeah,
like they all do, and you know, good on Katie Sackhoff for getting that paycheck. She voiced the character in the cartoons too, right?
No.
Yeah, she's been voicing the character for 10 years.
Oh, that's right. Oh, right. It was Ahsoka's voice actress who didn't get the gig. Yeah, that's right.
So immediately they address something that people who are into the Clone Wars have been asking since the first season, is like, what's up with the Mandalorian culture that doesn't take off their helmets and seems to live very differently?
Right.
When they take off their helmets and he's like, what are you doing? And they're like, no, what are you doing? And then
it's like, oh, you're a child of the Watch. I think it's basically like, I think maybe it's Mando is like Amish, and the rest of them are like Mennonites.
See, here's the way that I took it. Mando is the Carl Urban Judge Dredd, and all the other Mandalorians are the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd.
Yep, I buy it. Headcanon.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd, Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd is the leader of Bo-Katan's Mandalorians.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'd be okay if Stallone showed up.
I would not be. I would be opposed to Stallone showing up in Star Wars.
I'm just saying. And he was great in Guardians too.
Yeah, sure.
Not a huge role, but a small role.
Yeah, I have
like a Brian Posehn sized role.
I still have feelings about that. I don't want it. My feelings are I don't want it.
Look,
I don't want any of the Expendables in Star Wars. I think that's kind of it.
All right, well, we're gonna have a problem because I want Statham in a Star Wars real bad.
I think I could make an exception for Statham, but only because of Crank.
Statham is a grizzled former Imperial officer.
Everyone should play Dash Rendar. I want to audition all crazy Hollywood men as Dash Rendar and see who does best.
I was just thinking about The Mummy again earlier because, of course, I was. And I was like, yeah, we get Arnold Vosloo to play Prince Gisor.
Ooh.
And then we get, I know she's outside of Shadows, but we get Rachel Weisz play Mara Jade.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's bring Mara Jade back into the universe somehow. They fucked up too much.
I don't know how you do that.
Oops, I effed.
Oh, and yeah.
Stay on target.
So they bring up, like you said, that he's a child of the Watch, which makes you think, like, what is they say it's a cult of religious zealots that, splintered off. We don't know when this happened or how long ago it happened.
Yeah, I love that, but they don't
You broke up a bit, but I think you were saying you love that they didn't over-explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Like, in 2 sentences, I was like, okay, I know exactly what they're talking about. Got it.
Yeah.
But, like, even that name, Child of the Watch, that's could be related to the Death Watch, which was a different Mandalorian, sect during the time of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's a sect that Bo-Katan was in.
Right, and then defected from, right?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she was second in command of the Death Watch.
Right, but even Death Watch took off their helmets, so it's like a more extreme sect than the Death Watch.
Yeah, it raises a bunch of questions because in the flashback, Din Djarin is rescued by Mandalorians who have the Death Watch mark on their armor.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I noticed that Bo-Katan now she does not bear that mark anymore. It seems to be something that is, I would say, identifies with her. It looks very similar to like her helmet markings on her shoulder. So it's all part of this grand scheme of hers to take back Mandalore and to be the leader of Mandalore. Which, spoiler for the end of Rebels. We can go ahead. I guess we'll talk about the Darksaber here in a little bit. But yeah, very interesting. The whole Death Watch connection, maybe.
Welcome to Death Watch.
Why is anybody welcoming anybody to a thing called Death Watch with such glee?
Well, it's when they're torching a village and watching a bunch of innocent people die, is what that seems.
Oh, right. That's right.
Because they're about murder, but also camaraderie.
Yeah.
So timeline
Proud Boys.
So timeline wise, does it shake out that the implication is that Bo-Katan is the one who saved Darren Jin as a child? Or is that just a visual coincidence?
No, it would not be her because she kept that helmet. That helmet has been pretty much, and she says it's been with her family for 3 generations. So those Death Watch Mandalorians could be working for her in Pre-Vizsla at that time.
Yeah, that's possible.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you'd mentioned the similarity of the shot, and I was like, well, there's no way that's an accident.
Yeah, no.
Was Pre-Vizsla just named after the abbreviation for pre-visualization, which is Previs?
Very, very well could be.
There's no other option, right? Why did I just realize that? The other interesting thing we learn in this scene here is that like Mandalore is supposedly like an uninhabitable wasteland now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess
we can assume that.
Which is
after
you're right.
the
So this is a rumor
the Night
being
of 1,000
spread.
Tears.
Yeah. Wardrobe. Yeah. This is all kinds of interesting crap to chew on in these scenes right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Empire realized that they could not control Mandalore and the people of it, so they just kind of took it out. Which in the Clone Wars, Mandalore is a few systems, but the main one, they live in these bubbles. They live in these like dome cities with their own biosphere, and it's a wasteland around them anyway because of all of the war that the planet had gone through, just in its history. So she could even be he could be referencing that as well.
Yeah. And for all we know, though, like there's still people inhabiting the bubbles, like Mos Pelgo.
Yes. Yeah. So who knows? The Empire could have taken out the bubbles. We don't know what's going on there.
We don't.
So
he also Mando clearly delineates because he's kept saying before, like he was given the Jedi as like a clue to finding the child's kind, but really just kept saying like I need to bring him to his people. But this was the first time where he said like I have to get this thing to the Jedi.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a little bit of a retcon or if that's like what was intended all the time. Because obviously the Jedi were always going to be intertwined with that whole thing. But it wasn't my impression that he was seeking Jedi as an equivalent to his people. Or is he seeking Jedi to find his people?
I think that he could even potentially think that they are the same thing. Because the armor tells him in episode 8 that she needs to reunite it with a race of force wielders called Jedi.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's when he's like, okay, so this is what I'm doing. He could very well think all Jedi look like this thing. Or not. I don't know. It's so weird. The whole people not knowing what Jedi are.
Yeah.
Just 20 some years after.
Well, it's also like
so
he was
prevalent.
raised in an extremist religious sect.
Mm-hmm.
Like his worldview is actually probably very narrow.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
There's another version of the Mandalorian where it's just Borat.
Oh God. I would watch that.
All right. Sacha Baron Cohen cameo this season.
Well, we just
hope.
need to make Troops a real show. Does anybody remember that fan film from like 20 years ago?
Yeah, that was the first fan film. Not the first,
It was
but like
one of the first major. In the second one, like the real first Star Wars fan film was Hardware Wars, but Troops was another. It was an early entry in the '90s era.
mhm. It was the first for like the internet age.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, so then he takes off, and he meets up with Quarren again, who tells him that he killed his brother. But
Insists on it twice. The guy's like, just twice. It's like, no, dude, I heard you the first time. I know your brother is dead.
Then Bo-Katan and the gang shows up, and she tells him that no, she killed him.
Yeah, I like that she was polite enough to set the record straight before murdering him and his friend.
Right. It's like, no, it was me, and now you are dead. Goodbye.
Yeah, the whole time it was building up, I was like, if she shows up and doesn't say, no, I iced your brother, I'm going to be very disappointed.
She made good.
Bo-Katan didn't let me down.
So yeah, then they agree to go have a drink, and it's revealed that Trask is a black market port and that they're staging weapons that have been bought and sold with the plunders of Mandalore. So Bo-Katan's clan is wanting to seize those weapons and use them to retake it.
Good plan. It's a solid. That's a very Clone Wars-y plan. That sounds like an episode of Clone Wars.
This whole episode,
yeah,
the visuals and the plan and them like being on the Imperial ship.
That scene felt very much like an episode of Clone Wars too. Yeah. That felt like live action Clone Wars. The whole stormtrooper battle in the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just like couldn't escape it in both awesome ways and in ways that I'm like, all right, this is interesting, because this show up until this point, I feel like has been had its own visual style. Yeah. And it was weird to see this looks very familiar. Oh yeah, the animated stuff.
Right. It was probably like, prevised all to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh yeah.
Fart. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay, stream's coming back up. We just dropped a whole bunch of frames. We're still here, people. It looks like we're back going strong now. Okay.
So she offers to give him some information and help him, but he's got to help them first.
Classic Mandalorian.
Yep.
This deal's getting worse all the time.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Yeah.
I said that exactly when it happened, and my fiance looked at me like I was crazy because she didn't know what I was talking about.
Does she not get an Empire reference? Or just like, she's not so hardcore that line of dialogue triggers her brain?
The latter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. She has seen them, but not near to the point that we have. I feel like we have referenced that line more in conversation than the time she's seen Empire. So between the three of us. So
would she know if you said,
"This is so wizarding"?
She would probably also look at me like I was crazy.
What if you went, yippee?
I did not have that one.
Typically, the only one that I can drop frequently that she picks up is the line about the sand, or I hate them. They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them. If I drop either of those two, she knows exactly what I'm referencing.
What about around the survivors a perimeter create? She got that one down?
She'd be lost. She could probably like infer that it was Yoda from the goofy way that I was talking, but probably would not be able to pinpoint the origin beyond that.
That's reasonable for most of humanity.
Yep.
So we get the setup of this heist that they want to take out this Imperial freighter. And so then he takes the baby Yoda, takes him to the frog so that they could watch over him, much to everybody's horror, I think.
Yep.
And
as discussed.
Then we get this whole amazing action sequence of them taking out all the stormtroopers and all the Imperials on the Imperial freighter. And I was very happy to see this Imperial freighter because I'm like, oh, this is from Rebels. This is cool. And so when I look it up, I'm like, oh no, this dates back to Phantom Menace. And I couldn't believe the shot when I pulled it up. I'm like, oh no, this wasn't the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it's like the same damn ship. It's really, that's cool.
There's a visual there too.
Yeah, the visual's up.
Cool.
Which ship was it from Phantom? Was it one of like the troop transports or something, or?
It's just in the background on Tatooine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, just there.
It's just like around. So they just like found, they just found some design. They're like, oh yeah, we haven't seen this in a while. Let's do this.
Nice.
Which is great. That's what they should be doing.
So yeah, then we. Oh yeah, and then we get the big reveal of Titus Welliver.
Yeah, Titus Welliver's in this episode.
So we got more Deadwood connections.
Yep.
Welcome to
Yeah, I did a double take when he popped up.
And that other guy was a guy
that's
too.
Titus Welliver.
The other officer is a guy too. Crap. I'm gonna find it. I should have brought it up before. I should have looked it up before. But there's two guys driving the thing, two officers, and then a bunch of stormtroopers. Oh, the deck officer is Kevin Dorff, who I guess is a writer. He's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, off and on. I guess he's mostly a writer, but he's in Arrested Development. He was in.
So not the same Dorff as Dorff on Golf.
No, that was Tim Conway.
It wasn't Brad Dorff.
It wasn't Brad Dorff.
We're about
more Deadwood connections.
Although if they would have put Brad Dorff in Mandalorian, like, sign me up for 7 of that.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Especially after just watching all of the Child's Play movies. Like, please give me as much Brad Dorff as I can stomach.
Yeah. Let's not keep talking about Brad Dourif so Travis doesn't play a soundbite at me.
Yeah, so the whole thing is going really well. They end up getting locked in the cargo control room.
The cargo control room. Like, the stormtroopers are pursuing them. They think they got them cornered. They're working their way. They trap them in the cargo control room. And, like, the guy who's trying to lose, like, the last line of defense and the stormtroopers are in the cargo hold. He's, like, so happy. He's like, we have him trapped. It's great. Where do you have him trapped? The cargo control room. What? I don't see why that's a problem. Sounds great to me.
And then, bam, they Ripley him. Right out the airlock.
Oh, Ripley.
I'm a fan of anytime somebody gets blown out an airlock in a show or a movie or whatever.
Absolutely.
You don't see it enough.
No, totally agree.
Yeah, and then Moff Gideon gets to make an appearance here, and he's talking to Titus Welliver. And then he gives him the cryptic order, which I could tell what was going on. I'm like, all right, he's gonna have to blow up the ship or something now.
The humanity.
It was really cool that it seems like Moff Gideon has a theme, because as soon as he showed up, they started playing the same music that he gets in episodes 7 and 8.
I did not pick up on that. That's pretty cool.
I missed that.
I'm in for new character themes. Oh, do you think we get... Ahsoka has a theme, right?
She does.
I wonder if we hear that next week.
I'm sure we will.
I do not know if we're even going to see Ahsoka next week.
Oh, you have doubts.
Well, we can talk about it here later after we're done with this episode. Then all the Mandos make their way up to the bridge there, and they don't. It doesn't go well, because their plan is to take Titus Welliver, but he has not a cyanide capsule, but
a force lightning capsule.
That Papa Palpatine made for everybody.
I guess so. Just like crack a tooth, force lightning into the brain, death.
Just Hail Hydra.
Really, really dug that, actually. Dug that way of going out. That was, and Bo-Katan wanted him to bring her to the Darksaber. That was why she wanted him alive, right? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
She wanted to get to Moff Gideon because he has the Darksaber.
It was a cool way for that character to go, but I'm disappointed because I think Titus Welliver is the first time that an Imperial officer has actually been intimidating to me.
He's also one of the very few that's was straight American.
Yes, and that's the other thing too, because even Peter Cushing, who's phenomenal in that first Star Wars, he's British, so I don't feel threatened. There are only two Englishmen that I feel threatened by: Ian McShane and Jason Statham. So until they play Imperial officers, I'm never going to take a British Imperial officer seriously.
Do you take Daniel Craig seriously because he played a stormtrooper?
Do I take who?
Daniel Craig, James Bond.
Oh yeah, but stormtroopers are fodder. No one's scared of stormtroopers.
That's true.
You see a stormtrooper, what are you going to do? Shoot all around me and never
What did
hit
they
me?
say? Did they say in this episode that the troopers couldn't hit the broadside of a bantha?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
And then
was happy for that turn of phrase in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. And then during the sequence where Mando makes a run for it down the hallway, he's taken a lot of direct hits. I'm like, wow, I've never seen so many direct hits by a stormtrooper.
So that number one. I was also wondering, number two, is his armor of a different quality than theirs in terms of its protective qualities? And that's why he was the one willing to just go out into the blaster fire and just deal with it?
Very well could be.
Yeah, I
think they're all supposed to be wearing Beskar, but I think his is more pure.
It looks at least theirs is at least painted, but it looks like it maybe goes more deep than just painting. It might be colored metal.
Yeah, even texture-wise, the thickness seems different.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Maybe that's part of the weird sect nature of what he do.
Yeah. And Beskar itself is supposed to be so strong, it's supposed to be able to withstand lightsaber.
Right. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So who knows?
There's part of me that hopes that at some point he gets separated from the armor, and we actually have to see him enter a fight with some degree of caution. Because I feel like with armor, it's kind of the Wolverine problem for me, where he just throws himself in because he knows nothing can kill him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this episode did push me toward the idea that we will get Mando without his helmet maybe sooner than we think. And I don't think maybe before the end of the season, but I think maybe by the last episode or second to last episode, we see his face for the first time. That's my general prediction. Once he has the wool pulled back a little bit.
Yeah. I think especially if
takes off his helmet.
Yeah.
As the series progresses, and I think we see more of this Mandalore plot unfold,
Yeah.
I think that's not happening this season. I think that's going to be more seasons 3 and 4, where Bo-Katan does become more of a central player, and I think he joins that cause to a degree, and I could see that definitely happening.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
It'd be like when a cop goes rogue and throws in his badge, he just takes his helmet off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's after the Darksaber, which is this symbol of power. It's the Iron Throne of Mandalore.
Do you want me to put up the image?
Yeah, you can put up the image. So we've got like this long history of it. Or it's been with the Vizslas for the longest time. Tar Vizsla was the first Mandalorian Jedi, and that's the first one we see, and then it just goes for generations.
And he crafted it, right? That first guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He figured out somehow to make a dark lightsaber-esque blade.
Yeah.
It is not technically a lightsaber. Is that correct?
Yes, no. I cannot tell you specifically.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then it goes to Pre Vizsla, and he loses it to Darth Maul when Darth Maul kills him. And then in Rebels, it is picked up by Sabine. She takes it while Darth Maul is sleeping. In a very, I'd say that's like a Gollum kind of a thing.
Effective, sneaky.
And eventually it ends up going to Bo-Katan by the end of that series, and she is the leader of the Mandalorians. And then, so that's why the first question when you see Moff Gideon wielding it is, well, what happened there?
Right. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see where that goes. I'm just excited to start seeing these threads come together. Mm-hmm. We're not being dragged through like the whole rest of the season to get some of these questions answered. I'm into it.
So yeah, she gives Mando some parting info that he can find Ahsoka Tano in the forest planet of Corvus.
Planet of Corvus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remind me of where when we've been to Corvus before.
I do not believe we have.
We haven't been to Corvus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me look up Corvus and see if it's even been referenced.
Wikipedia, everybody.
All right. Yep. Wikipedia. Yeah. Just it has nothing other than like the entry on it is the info we get in this episode.
Yeah.
So
it's all it exists.
So yeah. So we're going to Corvus. Well, and then he gets back. He grabs Baby Yoda, and then he finds that the Razor Crest has been
converted into a fishing vessel.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, the frog people have a baby. They're super, super happy and in love. It's actually like, I really like that aspect of this episode, how it never lost tabs on that little plot thread, and we actually had a resolution to it. I appreciated that. And yeah, the ship that almost doesn't work. Yeah, and he's off to Corvus to try to find Ahsoka Tano. So you think that something else will happen in between now and then?
Yeah, I do, because based on the trailer, we've seen nothing but footage from... I feel like most of the stuff we've seen from the season trailer has been stuff from these 3 episodes, and there's only one bit that we've not seen, and that's Navarro. And that's what Grief Karga and Cara Dune. And I think that's where we actually might end up going next week, making a pit stop there.
Maybe just to get his ship back in order.
Yeah. And next week's episode, I think, is the one that's being directed by Carl Weathers.
Ooh.
So it would make sense.
Happy Gilmore's Carl Weathers.
Yes.
Mando!
Arrested Development's Carl Weathers.
Yes.
regular Sylvester Stallone co-star, Carl Weathers.
It's true. So yeah, we might see Ahsoka next week. We might not. Also, Dave Filoni has been listed on IMDb for a while as being the director of the 5th episode, which would also let me, make you think, oh, he would probably be directing whatever she's in.
That makes sense to me too. Yeah. Do we know who's directing next week's?
I think Carl Weathers.
You just said Carl Weathers.
Mm-hmm.
You just said that. We just had that conversation. Got it.
And then we would have 3 more directors. We have Robert Rodriguez still. I believe Rick Famuyiwa is doing another one this season.
Yeah, I believe I heard that too. And Deborah Chow's still working on Obi-Wan, I think, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah, she's not part of.
Right. Oh no. Oh, there you are. My internet is being a jerk today, y'all.
Mine too.
Hey. Anyway.
So, yeah, that's where we are. And
this was super exciting. I love this. I want more of this. Thank you, Star Wars. Thank you, television Star Wars, for bringing me greater satisfaction than theater-going Star Wars.
That's true.
Which, I mean, as long as you get it somehow.
Yeah, I mean, 2019 ended with a real downer note when it came to Star Wars. And 2020 has been very kind to Star Wars and basically nothing else.
I was going to say 2020 real world, terrible. But in terms of Star Wars stuff,
so good.
Great.
Yeah. And I want to throw this out for our listeners. I just realized 5 minutes ago that I have been saying Ahsoka Tan this whole episode and not Ahsoka Tano. So if any of our listeners have a problem with it, come to my house and I will shove you in a locker.
Little known fact, Dustin keeps one solitary locker that he rescued from his high school when they were tearing it down in his apartment, just as a reminder of the time when he would have to live in there as a child.
It's you say that, and I envision the last montage in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but it's the other way around. They show up to do that, but you're the one who takes control.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trapped in here with me. That'll
yeah.
I'm just saying, shoving nerds into lockers, one of the only joys I derive from life anymore. So,
come to Dustin's locker, nerds.
So yeah, if you feel so inclined, go and call out Dustin on that. And in the meantime, Dustin, is there anything else? Where can people find you? Is there anything going on?
Oh yeah, as always, you can find me at DustinMeadowsComedy.com. And if you're interested in seeing more, I'm doing a fun little experiment where I'm selling sexy 2021 calendars. You can find at my merch website. It's DustinMeadowsComedy.BigCartel.com. So go buy those if you want to see me doing some PG-13 action and looking all coy and sexy every month of next year.
If you want to see a calendar of how many guitars Dustin's junk has touched, this is the calendar for you.
I'm limiting myself to only 2 guitar shots.
Okay.
Oh,
so I got to get real creative with these.
Yeah, what the other ones will be.
Can you reenact the little girl with the sunblock and the dog pulling on the shorts?
If I can find a dog that well trained, or if my friend is that good at Photoshop, I will give you a solid maybe.
Or maybe the Morton Sea Salt girl. It's an option.
Oh, yeah.
just an umbrella.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna find a giant clam and just cover myself with my hands.
Oh, please. Yeah.
And Alex, where can people find you?
Some Twitter is now a series of kind of relieved retweets / keep on your toes retweets because we're still living in a garbage fire nightmare. So
It's like the planet of Mandalorian.
yeah, and Relatively Dead Instagram are both accessible at Alex Brunel.
You can find us, you can find the show streaming every week on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Subscribe to
find
our
us-
YouTube's channel.
Yeah, do it. Leave comments, like or unlike videos.
Don't unlike them. Don't invite people to unclick the button. Just click the button and go. You don't even have to watch the video. Click like and get, or watch it, whatever.
Subscribe to the podcast feed wherever podcasts are sold. Yeah,
I think that's
reach
it.
out to us. Yeah, who watches podcast at gmail.com. So until next week, initiate self-destruct sequencing.